What's up, guys? Fancy Joe checking back in here. Today, I am talking about the Dallas Cowboys and why I think they can have such a bounce back this year when it comes to fantasy football. Believe a lot in that offense for this year, and I'm going to be breaking that down. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Stick around. We're going to be bringing you a lot of fantasy football content. Hit that like button if you like the video, and any questions or comments in the comment section down below, and I'll respond as always. Let's hop right into this video. I'm going to start with starting about Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke's being drafted at 7, but I think if he stays healthy this year, I think he'll easily be a top 5 running back. Last year, he had some bang. Obviously, lost Dak Prescott. And if we look at the games that Dak Prescott played, he averaged in a half-point PPR league. He averaged over 19.9 points per game, so is extremely efficient for fantasy. And then I think the picture isn't really quite told for Zeke as the season goes on because a lot of people think, oh, Dak went down and he just went to garbage. But really, he also lost his left tackle, All Pro Tyron Smith, his right tackle, All Pro Leo Collins, and their All Pro right guard, Zach Martin, to injury throughout the season. So their offensive line was really banged up. And that's typically a very good unit. All three of those guys will be back this year, though. That's another big plus for Zeke and his entire offense. So that's why another reason I think Zeke is going to be a huge value this year. A guy you can snag at the back end of the first round, who I think is going to end up being a top 5 running back if he stays healthy. Don't think he's the best running back skill-wise by any means, but fantasy football is about opportunity as well as talent. And I think Ezekiel Elliott has one of the best opportunities of any running back in football, and I don't think that that's going to change by any means this season. So I think he's a value at that 107 mark, and I think you can get him a lot later even. Let's move on. We're going to talk about Amari Cooper now, who's being drafted at the 405 range. Now, Amari Cooper in Dallas has been on pace for over 1,200 yards not per game, obviously. 17-game pace is for over 1,200 yards since he's been in Dallas, and he played all of last season basically without Dak. Not all of it. 5 games Dak played, but played a lot of football with Andy Dalton and still went for 90 receptions, over 1,100 yards. Saw those touchdowns come down, but I think that was in a large part because the offense was so poor last year. Just weren't scoring nearly as many touchdowns, so it's harder to score touchdowns, obviously. But Amari Cooper's a guy, I think if I could snag him in the 4th round, I'd be very happy with my team. If I could snag, Ezekiel Elliott, Antonio Gibson in the 2nd round, or, Austin Eckler, somebody like that, and then I can snag a tight end or a wide receiver and then get Amari Cooper in the 4th round as my 2nd wide receiver or my 1st wide receiver to couple with an elite tight end. I really like that roster construction as far as team goes. I think you're still getting a really good receiver in Amari Cooper, a guy I think it can be a back-end wide receiver 1 and has honestly some pretty crazy upside with Dak Prescott there. Now let's talk about before we talk about Dak, actually, let's talk about CeeDee Lamb. I think this is another reason why I think Dak is going to have such a good year. You see CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper being drafted at 405, 407. We know that they've got crazy good weapons there. CeeDee Lamb could definitely break out this year, is probably the best receiver in the team, honestly. Plays a lot of those snaps from the slot, but I still think he'll be highly productive this year. They also have Michael Gallup, who's a very talented outside wide receiver. Ton of weapons for Dak Prescott to distribute the ball to. Blake Jarwin's back this year. He's going to be healthy. I think that is going to boost the offense as well. Really excited about that team. And I just think Dak has so many weapons. He's going to have the 3 all-pro offensive linemen healthy again. Let's talk about Dak a little bit more now. Dak is being drafted at the 505 right now. I've been seeing him. You can get him in the 6th, early 6th, 5th, depending on how your league works out. But Dak in 2020 averaged 27.73 points per game, which was 1st in points per game of any quarterback last season. And then last season in 2019, he was 2nd overall in points for quarterback position and averaged 21.8. So Dak has been really, really good as far as a quarterback in fantasy for a long time. I don't really get why he's being drafted. There's so many guys that are being drafted ahead of him, but he's, like I said, 1st and 2nd basically in points per game over the last 2 years. And has just been dominating. They have an awful defense, so they're going to continue to need to score tons of points. I don't see that changing. Their offense defense might improve a little bit, but it's not, they're not going to go to a top 5 overnight. It doesn't look like. So I really believe the Dallas Cowboys offense is going to continue to score in bunches. Dak Prescott's going to provide that for you, for the Dallas Cowboys, for all their players, and for your fantasy team. That's why I would be drafting Dallas Cowboys this year. I'm all in on them. I think you're getting a good value at them at this point in your draft because of the injury from last year. you can draft a lot of these guys closer to their floor than their ceiling, and that's obviously good in fantasy football. If you guys have made it to this point and you like the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. And as always, any questions or comments, I'll respond. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Fantasy Joe. Peace out.